Hi, thank you for coming back to my channel. And today we are welcoming you back from Bangalore's Lung, which is also known as Cubbon Park. It's a 120-acre green area in the midst of the city center and a beautiful place to be. So I thought, why not? Let's do this video in nature. Well, of course, I'm not here to talk to you about plant species and animal species. I'm here to talk to you about pricing. So let's get started. There are several strategies that retailers adopt, when they talk about pricing, and a lot of it is linked to the brand. So your brand equity will determine what is the type of pricing that you're going to adopt, especially if you're a new brand. What I've noticed is when I've spent time in various countries looking at retail and pricing, you'll notice that brands are priced and positioned differently in different parts of the world. And a lot has got to do with when the brand entered that market, what was the positioning of that brand at that point of time, what was the consumer perception that drove people to think in a particular way about a brand. So talking about pricing, what is relevant is the kind of equity that you've created for the consumer. So the first pricing strategy I wanted to talk about was the luxury pricing strategy. If you've noticed, especially if you're in India, luxury prices are at least 20 to 30% more than anywhere else in the world. Even brands which are not considered on the high spectrum of luxury, like for example an Armani Exchange, what you will find is that the pricing in India is extremely steep. Just to give you a comparison, Armani Exchange for a t-shirt, if you went into Dubai and you looked at fresh collection, you'll be looking at a range of about 300 dirhams for a t-shirt. Here in India, we are talking about nothing less than close to 1,000 dirhams for the same t-shirt. So, of course, India has got these duties which are as much as 20 to 30%, in some cases even 50% on the products that are imported. That makes the brand's position much higher than they actually are. So what most Indian consumers do is they will get on a flight to Dubai. They'll buy all the luxury items that they would normally want to purchase in India. So they'll buy it first of all at a much cheaper price, and we are talking about 20 to 30% cheaper. So when you go for your big ticket items like Birkin in Hermes, or you're looking at a Burberry trench coat, you'll find a huge price variance. And if you buy the trench coat in Dubai, the cost of your trip and a 5-day stay in Dubai, including the product that you buy in Dubai, will be equal to the retail selling price of the product in India. So you get an understanding of why luxury really doesn't work in India, and if it does, why people want to fly abroad to buy luxury. So luxury pricing in India is extremely challenged. It's always more than anywhere else in the world. Secondly, you need to provide a lot of documentation, and that is a big barrier, because you can have authorities like income tax coming after you because you have to declare certain PAN card information, and these are all things that don't really help the luxury business. So in terms of luxury pricing overall, if you were a luxury brand in India, or rather you were a franchisee who took a luxury brand to India, what you need to do is negotiate with your principals to get a lower ex-factory price, so that you can position yourself at about 15% higher than Dubai at best. Anything more than 15% and people will start thinking, why should I buy in India? I probably should go to Dubai and spend money there. So another pricing strategy that retailers adopt is called the Keystone Pricing strategy. So what is this Keystone strategy? It's basically you purchase a product at wholesale price and you sell it at double of the wholesale price. So for example, if you purchase a product at the price of 50 at wholesale, you sell it at 100. So you're doubling your price. It's a 100% markup and a 50% margin. Generally, most retailers who don't want to do a lot of hard work on studying the market, understanding the competition, and just want to apply an approach of pricing in a profitable manner where their P&Ls are not overburdened by rent and staffing, then the Keystone pricing is the most efficient price structure to adopt. So the next strategy I want to talk to you about is the multiple pricing strategy, or the bundle strategy. If you look at PlayStation, it is a classic case of a bundle strategy. Go out into the market and try to buy a PlayStation 4. If you try to buy the machine alone, it is priced higher than if it is bundled with a set of games. So you're basically enticing the customer to buy a bundle offer, and here you show him a PlayStation by itself at, let's say hypothetically, 1,000 dirhams, and then you show him again the same PlayStation with about 5 or 6 games that you actually want to get rid of, which are high in your inventory. You put it as a part of your bundle offer and sell it for 1,200 dirhams. In this way you achieve two things. The first thing is that you sell a higher units per transaction. Secondly, you get rid of your old inventory. And thirdly, the customer in his mind gets a value for money proposition. So that is what the bundle strategy is about, which then leads me into the loss pricing strategy. Now, what is this? So let us say Sony PlayStation, when they started building these PlayStations in their earlier iterations, they used to price them extremely expensive. A box would cost you approximately $1,000. But come today, when you go and buy your PlayStation 4, that price has fallen by at least 60% to where it started in an earlier version of the PlayStation. And the thought process is very clear. Sony was extremely sharp in understanding consumer needs. And they said, okay, let's sell the consumer the box at a very cheap price, and let's lock him in with our additional ancillary items like games. And if you try to buy PlayStation games, you'll know that they are so expensive. A single game will cost you about $80. Then they also have the Sony PlayStation Network, which is an online subscription charge. So they've built an entire ecosystem around the PlayStation. So the next pricing strategy I want to talk about is above and below the competition pricing strategy. So this is actually a derivative of your Keystone pricing strategy. Like I said, if you do your market research, if you understand the positioning of your brand vis-a-vis the competition, you look at what is your consumer able to pay for it, then you can decide your price positioning. Now, if you're entering new into a market, sometimes you will adopt a very predatory pricing strategy whereby you'll say, I'm going to price my products below the competition so that I can get market share. And when I get that market share, I'll try and correct the pricing, which is a good strategy to have, but also a risky one. So when we talk about differential pricing, which is above and below the competition, one example that comes to mind is Toys R Us and Hamleys. Toys R Us is an American retailer, Hamleys is a British retailer, both adopting a very different strategy in terms of their pricing and in terms of the way they position themselves with customers. So I worked very briefly in both brands, for Toys R Us and in Hamleys. What I saw from first-hand experience was that Hamleys was a very interactive brand. A lot of demonstrations, a lot of interaction with customers, a lot of show and tell. Toys R Us was very basic. It was more like a supermarket. You get in there, you find your product, you leave. It never really focused on service. So when it came to pricing, in Dubai at least, what I noticed is that Hamleys and Toys R Us, some of the brands that they carried in their store were shared, because they had common suppliers who they would source the brands from. But if you were actually to do a price study between Hamleys and Toys R Us for the shared brands that they carried, Hamleys used to have their products positioned at a minimum 10% more than a Toys R Us. And that was a kind of premium that customers were okay to pay for a very interactive, engaging environment. They were not selling a product, they were selling an experience. And that was the key difference in why Hamleys was able to position itself higher than Toys R Us. So the last and most important pricing strategy I want to talk to you about is the 99 pricing strategy, which is also called as the left digit pricing strategy. So what exactly is this? Let's assume a product is priced at 500. You as a consumer, when you're looking at the price, you'll look at the first digit on the left hand side, which is the 5. You will ignore the other 2 digits on the right hand side. So psychologically, when retailers are trying to entice customers to buy and you're looking at big ticket items, what they will do is they will price a product at 499, and that is exactly what the left digit inference is, or the 99. So 99 works very well because psychologically, when you're looking at that left digit syndrome, the customer looks at the price at $4.99, but he's perceiving only the 4. He's not looking at the 99. So he thinks he's getting some sort of value when it comes to his pricing. Now, a system of left digit pricing will work when you're looking at high numbers, which means the left digit needs to reduce. If the left digit remains static, you won't get those same effects. So for example, if I had a product which was priced 510 and I decided to price it at 509, there is going to be no difference in terms of the sale that will come out from a customer looking at that price differential. But if a product was priced at 500 and I changed it to 499, where the left number is actually reducing, from a perception perspective, the customer is going to feel that he's getting more value, and that is what the 99 effect is when it comes to pricing. If you do research around the world, 60% of the retailers adopt this strategy of pricing to give customers perception. So let's go to a little bit of trivia. How did this come about, this 99? So in the 1900s, when they just introduced cash registers in the USA and products were priced at $1 or $5 or $10, owners of the stores were very worried. They never had these state-of-the-art surveillance systems, and they were worried that cashiers will not put the money in the till and pocket it. So they decided to adopt this 99 strategy. So for example, if a product was priced at 99 cents and the customer hands you $1, you are forced to open the register, do the transaction and give him the 1 cent back. Same thing if it goes to $4.99 versus a $5 transaction. So the whole purpose at that time was they need to engage with the customer, pay the customer the 1 cent back, so that pilferage was not coming into play. So for more insights like this, continue watching my channel. I hope you're enjoying what topics we're covering, and I'm going to see you at the next video. Thanks a lot, everyone.